Prof-It is brought to you by StopToShop.com, your ultimate source for Pokemon singles, tins, boxes, and cards from a variety of other games too. Type in the coupon code PROFIT in caps with a dash, and you'll sweeten the deal with a 10% discount on your full order. If you're looking for cards, make the stop at Stop to Shop. Hey Prof-It fans, and welcome to today's episode of Prof-It. I know it's been a while, but now that finals are over and I'm finally back home, I should be able to work on Prof-It at least once a week. Now, it might be a little bit slower than that, and if you know me and been watching the show for a while, it usually is, but I can promise you guys I'm going to be spending as much time as I can upping the quality and getting as many videos as I can possibly. With this upcoming weekend, we have our first Battle Roads tournaments. Now you think with a new tournament series that I'd be reporting on the different decks that people are going to be playing and what I expect to win, but strangely enough, this is one tournament series that I won't be playing in. As I've explained in my past few episodes, I'm not exactly fond of the Majestic Dawn through Black and White format. And while I hope that if you guys go you'll have a good time, I'm thinking that many of you are going to see why the format's so imbalanced. It's going to be a series of donks with Sable Donk, and Trainer Lock decks shutting that Sable Donk down, and SP decks that can beat the Trainer Lock decks. It's going to be a vicious triangle with a lot of games ending on turn 1 before you even get to draw a card. Now, June 1st is when Pokemon is going to announce whether or not we'll be getting a possible mid-season rotation of Heart Gold, Soul Silver on. So, how these Battle Roads turn out is going to be how they determine whether or not we'll get the rotation. Coming up after that are the National Championships. Now, due to these strange turns of events with a possible rotation, there are actually 3 different formats for Nationals, depending on where you live. The minority, which is in Germany, and I think maybe France, is Majestic Dawn through Black and White. This is the same format that I don't like for Battle Roads, and if this is your format for Nationals, I apologize. I hope that you do your best with either Trainer Lock or Donk build, and I hope that this will further explain to Pokemon why we need a new format for Worlds and next year as soon as possible. The second is the same one that we've played for State Championships, and in the United States, Regional Championships. Majestic Dawn through Call of Legends. If you play in one of these countries, I've pretty much given you all the advice that I have about this format through past episodes. I've played both states and regionals in this same tournament, and I feel like giving you guys more information about a same format that hasn't changed much wouldn't really help the masses. The third possible format, which is one that the United States and Canada might get with the announcement on June 1st, is Heart Gold, Soul Silver on. This will also be the potential format for Worlds and the definite format for everyone next year. With the Heart Gold, Soul Silver on rotation, 7 sets will be rotated, one of the deepest rotations of all time. With this, and as I've seen on the forums, many people are struggling with making an adequate build with this new set of cards. After all, with Heart Gold, Soul Silver on, we only have 5 complete sets to make decks with. If you include the fact that Call of Legends is mostly reprints, we probably only have about 450 cards to work with to make decks. This episode will be about some of the fundamentals in making a good Heart Gold, Soul Silver on deck. I won't go over every option, as this episode could run a long time, but I will go over some of the basics to help some of you guys set your feet in the waters of Heart Gold, Soul Silver on. In order to make a good Heart Gold, Soul Silver on deck, what you need to understand is what we lose from the rotation and what we have to work with. For example, the engines on decks are going to be much slower. Gone after the rotation would be Uxie and Setup, Cyrus's Conspiracy, Broken Time Space, and Rare Candy is now a full turn slower with the new errata. So, with all these fundamental staples gone, how do you make a good engine for a Heart Gold, Soul Silver on deck? Let's start with draw cards. First of all, every deck, due to Black and White, gets the brand new Professor Juniper supporter card. A great card that lets you discard your hand and draw 7 cards. I don't know if you guys have tested yet with Heart Gold, Soul Silver on, but this is one of the best draw supporters in the game as far as a Heart Gold, Soul Silver on format goes. I recommend trying 4 in every deck, and while not every deck needs it, it's definitely a great card, and if you're stuck on ideas, putting 4 Junipers should be the first thing you do when you're making a draw engine. Other good draw cards are the ones that let you shuffle your hand in and draw more cards, which include Professor Oak's New Theory and Copycat. Professor Oak's New Theory lets you draw 6 cards, and Copycat lets you draw as many cards as your opponent has in your hand. As far as which one is better, I think Professor Oak is stronger, but just a little bit. But I encourage you guys to check them both out if you're struggling on different supporters to add to your deck. Other supporters include ones that just let you draw cards, such as Sage's Training and Engineer's Adjustments. Both these cards include discarding cards, so they probably only work better in decks where you can recover energy from the discard. As far as Pokemon, there's only about two that in my eyes are actual viable cards that can help you draw through your deck. The first is Ninetales, which lets you discard a fire energy and draw 3 cards each turn. Ninetales is great for fire decks and decks that run on colorless energy costs, like the possibility of Minccino. However, Ninetales really won't work with anything else. The second is Magnezone Prime, whose Pokemon power lets you draw cards until you have 6 cards in your hand. This is another really good draw attack, but if you're running Magnezone, which is a stage 2, and with slower rare candy, you might as well just use Magnezone as your attacker. Because of this, he's not exactly splashable, and he'll probably only be a self-sustaining draw engine for his own deck. And lastly, let's look at the different trainers that allow you to draw cards. Or, as I should say, trainer. In fact, there's only one card in the entire Heart Gold Soul Silver-On format that allows you to draw cards. We no longer have Pokedex or Pokejar Plus, but still in the format is Victory Medal. Now the strange thing about Victory Medal is you can only get one by winning a Battle Rhodes, buying one off eBay, or trading for one. So I doubt that most casual players, or even competitive players, will have a full set of 4. However, it's the only legal card in the format that allows you to draw cards, so it's definitely one that's worth looking into. Now, let's take a look at some of the best search options in the Heart Gold Soul Silver-On format. Some of the best cards that are cut from the rotation will include Bebe Search, Luxury Ball, and Cyrus's Conspiracy. However, a lot of our old options still exist. For supporters, we still have Pokemon Collector. While Collector obviously takes a hit in how good it is, due to the fact that you can no longer search an Uxie and draw with it, getting 3 basics is still a very strong search supporter, and it should be included in most decks. Another option, which wasn't used very much last format, but should be pretty good in this one, is Professor Elm's Training Method. It lets you search your deck and take an evolution card and put it into your hand. This is kind of like a Bebe Search. It just doesn't let you get basics, but you also don't have to shuffle a card from your hand into your deck. I know that some of you might be skeptical about the card, but I encourage you to give it a try. There are also 2 solid search trainers in the Heart Gold Soul Silver-On format. The first is Pokemon Communication, a card that was already used a lot in Majestic Dawn-On. The card lets you take a Pokemon from your hand and swap it with a new Pokemon from your deck. Because it's a trainer and doesn't waste your draw supporter for the turn, 4 Pokemon Communication should become a pretty common staples in almost every deck. Another good trainer is Dual Ball. It lets you flip 2 coins, and for each heads, search your deck and take a basic Pokemon into your hand. This could potentially replace Pokemon Collector because it still searches for basic Pokemon, but doesn't waste your supporter for the turn. Now, I don't know which one is necessarily better, and this is something that a lot of players have been testing currently, but I would definitely encourage you to try both of them out. Because the format will definitely be slowed with the lack of Uxie for filling your hand, the usage of setup Pokemon should become pretty prevalent. Now, there are a few strong options as Pokemon to start with to set up, and here are the best that I've seen so far. The first is Cleffa from Heart Gold Soul Silver and Call of Legends. Cleffa, for 0 energy, lets you shuffle your hand into your deck and then draw 6 cards. Cleffa is then asleep. On Tails, Cleffa will remain asleep moving into your opponent's turn, and your opponent won't be able to damage Cleffa due to his body. On Heads, he'll be exposed with 30 HP. However, in this format, it's hard to deal 30 damage after the first turn, so setting up with him might not be such a bad idea. There is of course the potential possibility of getting 2 Tails in a row, leaving Cleffa asleep coming into your turn, but from my testing, it's a risk that's pretty worth it. Along with the 0 energy attack, Cleffa also has a free retreat, making him my personal favorite starter Pokemon. Another good starter is Smeargle, one that was used a lot in the Majestic Dawn-On format. Smeargle lets you look at your opponent's hand and play one of their supporters for its power. Unfortunately, Smeargle loses some of the strength that he had last year. Without Unknown Q, Smeargle now has 1 retreat, meaning you have to dedicate 1 energy to him to retreat to the bench. The other problem is, with Professor Juniper, if you use Portrait and your opponent only has Juniper in your hand, you'll have to use the effect. So, you'll have to be careful. If you pick your opponent's Juniper on accident, you'll have to discard your entire hand, and any important cards that you had in it, before drawing your 7 cards. Another strong option is Manaphy, who works a lot like Cleffa, except he requires an energy, lets you shuffle your hand in, and you draw 5 cards. Like Cleffa, Manaphy has a free retreat cost, and he has more HP. However, having to dedicate an energy and drawing one less card could be a little bit of a disadvantage. The last starter, which is one that I haven't played much myself, but I've seen a bit online, is Stantler. For 1 energy, Stantler lets you search your deck and put 2 basic Pokemon from your deck onto your bench. This could be a pretty good replacement for Pokemon Collector and allow you to play other cards to set up. With 1 retreat cost, you'll be using that same energy that you're already attaching to attack, so Stantler could be a solid starter too. Another way that decks are going to be looking to maintaining their speed while staying competitive in this slower format is through energy acceleration. There are 3 main energy accelerators that I can think of. The first being Feraligatr, who has the same Pokemon power as Blastoise did from base set. Feraligatr's power lets you attach as many water energy as you like to water Pokemon. This works well in decks like Blastoise and Lantern Prime. However, these cards don't hit exactly as heavy as some others, and I'm not sure how competitive water is going to be in this format. Another Pokemon with energy acceleration, much like Feraligatr Prime, is Emboar from the Black and White set. Emboar's ability lets you attach as many fire energy as you like during your turn, but it doesn't have to be only to fire Pokemon. It can be attached to any kind of Pokemon, meaning that any Pokemon with either fire energy attack cost, like Rayquaza Deoxys Legend, or Pokemon with just a heavy colorless cost, could benefit from the acceleration of Emboar. Emboar is going to be one of the best Pokemon to center decks around, so it's definitely one that I recommend you test. The third is an engine that involves Pachirisu from Call of Legends and Shaman from Unleashed. Pachirisu lets you attach 2 lightning energy from your hand to him when you play him down, and Shaman lets you move around energies as often as you like. What you can do is play down Pachirisu, attach 2 lightning energy to it, and then use Shaman to move those energies to a Pokemon, getting quick energy on the field. This works the best in Zekrom, and is definitely a speedy deck that can do a lot of damage very quickly. I know that there are a few other energy accelerators out there, but these 3 are going to be the big ones that you'll see for Heart Gold, Soul Silver on. As far as main deck concepts go, all the top decks are gone. Gengar, Gyarados, Machamp, and all SP builds are all entirely out of the format, and it's one of the reasons that I like Heart Gold, Soul Silver so much. From this rotation will come 2 distinct types of decks: quick hitters and heavy hitters. While most of the classic 1 energy broken attacks from the Majestic Dawn on format are gone, some of them still remain in Heart Gold, Soul Silver. These would be the quick hitters, including Donphan Prime, Yanmega Prime, Kingdra Prime, and Jumpluff, and to some extent Gengar Prime because he still functions on 1 energy. These Pokemon aim to set up as quickly as they can, deal quick damage, and absorb a hit or 2 because they're stage 1 Pokemon. While they might not be able to get any one-shots, the fact that they're quick Pokemon means that they'll get early knockouts and early leads. A majority of the decks in Heart Gold, Soul Silver on are going to be the heavy hitters. This includes, of course, Zekrom and Reshiram, 2 of the amazing basic Pokemon from Black and White, as well as some other decks, including Magnezone, Machamp Prime, Tyranitar Prime, and Rayquaza Deoxys Legend. These Pokemon gear to do huge attacks and get constant one-shots, turn after turn, taking all 6 of your prizes after setting up. Because Heart Gold, Soul Silver is a slower format, using a setup deck like one of these heavy hitters should be one of your best options. I'll definitely talk more about metagames and decks as the format gets closer, but for now, those are some of the best decks that I've seen so far. That definitely doesn't list all the different types of decks that exist in the Heart Gold, Soul Silver on format, but they're some of the best that I've seen so far in my testing. I'll definitely talk more about metagames and deck lists as we get closer to the actual rotation, but for now, those are some of the best ones to try. For those of you still confused as to how many of each card you should have in a Heart Gold, Soul Silver on deck list, here's a sample list that I've used very loosely to guide you guys into how many of each card you should have. This list has 12 to 15 energy, 8 to 10 draw cards, 8 to 10 search cards, and 4 support Pokemon. This leaves you with 21 to 28 free slots, which you can use to add your main attacker, put in some disruption, add more search, more draw, or mix and match. Heart Gold, Soul Silver on may or may not come on June 1st for our Nationals or Worlds, but no matter what, we're going to get it next year. For those of you guys who are getting bored with this current format, testing Heart Gold, Soul Silver might be complicated, but it's a lot of fun. I encourage you guys to go through some of these basic steps that I've listed in this episode and tell me how your guys' testing goes. In the future, I'll get much more in depth with all the different types of cards, decks, and techs that work in Heart Gold Soul Silver On, but I just wanted to give you guys an introduction to the format. Until then, let me know what you guys think about Heart Gold Soul Silver On and what kind of things that you'd like to hear in future episodes. As always, thanks for watching Prof-It, good luck at Battle Roads, and have a great weekend. Peace!